I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Friday. My name is Brock. No Dalby in once again because he's still not feeling too well. He told me yesterday that his throat felt like hot knives, which I've never heard that term used before. Hot knives means something entirely different to me. I'm assuming you know what hot knives is. I'm assuming some of you listening to this podcast most definitely have knives with charred marks on the end of them. If you don't know what hot knives are, give it a Google or go check your friend's cutlery drawers. You'll find out if they're really cool or not. I went to go see I, Mother Earth last night. They played until like 11:45. I didn't get to bed till 12:30. So you know what? Just to have some podcast-worthy stuff, we're going to throw in some classics that maybe you haven't heard before. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the best of Brock and Dalby.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I think one of the toughest parts about being at work, not only for people like us who talk for a living,
right,
but almost in any kind of job where you have to be professional, is watching your profanity, trying not to swear sometimes, right?
I honestly find that I am more concerned about my language at work than I am at home. Mm-hmm. And I have two children.
Sure. I have come up with a way on how everyone can get away with swearing at work.
Okay. Are we testing this live on the radio?
We're going to test it out. Trust me, have faith in me.
I do.
I was, watching TV last night.
Okay.
And, a commercial came on and it had a 1-800 number on it.
Sure.
And a lot of those 1-800 numbers, they'll have a name. And you have to try and spell that name through the numbers, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, when the number has a word.
Sure, right?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, maybe we can kind of do that. Almost like, when people had a pager back in the day, there was certain numbers that they'd use and it would be the call sign for something, right?
Okay.
So I was thinking, very simple. Ass is 277. Right? 277.
Are you suggesting that we use numerals instead of profanity?
Yeah. And you'll never get in trouble as long as we keep it between us.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, buddy's being a 277 today. Right? And then, I can say ass here. I can get away with that.
Sure.
But maybe I can't say shh, right?
Yeah, I know which word you're implying.
I can't say the shh word, right?
Yeah.
That would be a 7448. 7448.
That guy's a real piece of 7448.
Man, you know what? I got into work today, and I just had to deal with so much 7448s that I'm just ready to call it a day. I am over it today. You know what, Dalby? I'm not going to put up with your 7448 today, all right? Listen to me here. You're full of 7448, and I'm tired of it. It works.
It's technically correct.
Yeah.
You're technically not wrong.
And for anyone that works in customer service, you deal with a lot of people that suck on a regular basis.
Sure.
And maybe you want to use the B word.
Okay.
Right? You want to call someone a right? A boo,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But you can't say it. That would be a 24824.
24824.
24824.
You'd be in a real 24824 about the Leafs game last night, bud.
But think about it. How many people work in retail or something, and on a day-to-day basis they have a quote-unquote Karen or whatever that's asking for the manager?
Sure.
You go, you just turn around and you're like, hey, can you go get the manager and tell her we got a 24824?
It's like a police code.
Yeah. We got a 24824 over at the front here. We need the manager down here. She wants to talk with her.
Got a real 277 at the table, too.
And if you really want to get bold and you want to swear at work, you want to drop the F word.
Okay, hang on now. Let's be careful here.
That's a 3825.
I'm not saying it. I understand your system, and I know where you're coming from, and again, you're technically correct. I'm not doing it.
Well, I'm just saying, you got some guys that are always like dicking around at work.
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, can someone tell Jim and those guys to stop 3825ing around? Or like, hey, look at these 3825ers. Right? It's a way that you can get away with swearing.
My concern is that there are people who are listening with their children right now. And there's going to be a ton of kids on the playground later today yelling numbers at each other, and it's your fault.
I don't give a 3825.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We have a lot of weird questions that we ask you guys to reply to at 762-555, but this one probably takes the cake for the strangest.
Can I give a shout out to Kenny, who texted 762-555 and said, "This is one of the weirdest conversations I've ever heard from you two, which is awesome." Thank you, Kenny.
So I stumbled across an old Rolling Stone article where Slash talks about that David Bowie used to hook up with his mom back in the day.
And he caught them naked.
Yeah, like when he was like 8 years old. They ended up becoming great friends. And then it begged the question, can you hook up with like your friend's mom and still be friends? We've got friend of the show, Trevor, on the line right now. Tell us your story, man.
Well, back in my 20s, I lived in Huntsville, and I went out to the bar. My roommate had told me that his mom was in town, but I'd never met her. And yeah, I went out to the bar and saw this lady sitting I was in my 20s, she was in her mid-40s. Saw a lady sitting at the bar, started talking to her, hit on her, brought her home, and yeah, it was my roommate's mom.
No!
You're kidding, right?
Nope.
And like just pure coincidence, like you weren't like
I had no idea.
You found a lady, liked her,
Yeah,
took her home.
Got off work. I worked at Deerhurst Resort, and I got off work and went to one of the pubs at the resort. And yeah.
How did you
She was
find
there.
out?
What
What was the moment you found out that she was your roommate's mom?
The next morning.
Like, how does that conversation come up? Were you like, well, I better get home. My roommate so-and-so's waiting for me. And she's like, it's
Well,
me
no,
too.
I went back to my apartment with her. She had never been to Huntsville.
No.
So woke up the next morning. I went out to make a coffee. She came out, and then my roommate John came out. And yeah.
No shot. He woke up to find his mom in his apartment with his roommate.
Yep, and that was the last time we talked, and that was probably 2000. That was the last time we talked.
Oh my God.
You know what? We believe in second chances here on this program. Would you like to apologize?
Oh, for sure. I think he lives down in like Oakville or something like that. That's where he was from, was Windsor. So.
Okay, but hang on. Follow-up question.
Yep.
That was the last time you talked to him. Was it the last time you talked to her?
Yeah.
Oh.
That morning I went looking for a new apartment.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've all done it, where you think you know a song.
Oh, yeah.
You're singing it, and then you finally see the lyrics or someone corrects you, and you're like, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
And it's such an awful moment because the only way your friends find out that you're thinking the wrong lyrics is because you're belting them out.
Yeah.
You're singing so loud that your friends are like, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
What did you just say? So it's like extra embarrassing.
Of course, there's all the classics. There's the Jimi Hendrix, Excuse Me While I Kiss This Guy.
Oh, yeah. Bathroom on the right. CCR.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. That's a great one.
I do like that one.
One of my favorite ones is Metallica's Sad But True. I used to think it was Sad Patrol.
That's right. We're out on the Sad Patrol.
Sad Patrol! And it's still all I hear. Of course, there's the other Metallica. And the Big Apple Pie.
Yeah.
But this weekend, there's a new one that I had never heard until we were playing a little poker when I went to Quebec this weekend.
Right.
Had Smashing Pumpkins Tonight playing.
Okay.
And there's this line in the song. And do you know what word he's saying there?
I really struggle with Billy Corgan. Like, I can appreciate him as a vocalist, but I don't know what he's saying most of the time.
So he's just saying indescribable there, and the line goes, indescribable moments of your life tonight.
Oh, okay.
But my buddy, he proclaims as we're singing it, and I scratch my balls.
No.
And I was like, what? Wait.
No.
Say that again? He's like, yeah. He says, I scratch my balls. And I was like,
Play it without singing it.
I don't think that's how it is.
I can hear it now.
I know. And then we re-listened back to the song because I was like, how do you hear scratch my balls?
And scratch my balls.
And he's like, that's what it is, isn't it?
That's not it. That's all I hear now.
And it's ruined tonight for me.
I think it's made it better.
That's all I'm going to hear for the rest of my days now.
It's so out of place for the rest of the song, too.
I don't know if anyone else has ever heard that before, but
like, if you're listening to the rest of the song, you're into the lyrics, whatever, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, and I scratch my ball. Like, it wouldn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense with the rest of the song.
It doesn't fit there at all. Tell me it was Gerald.
No, it was my buddy John. I scratch my balls.
That's all I'm going to hear from now on.
I know.
I'm never going to hear Indescribable ever again.
But he was like dead adamant. He's like, that's the lyrics, guy. And I was like, what? Why? Why would it be?
At least this is one of those situations. We've talked about it before, how like Google has killed the debate, the argument, where like that could have become a thing. That's one of those ones you really want to nip in the bud.
Oh, we nipped it in the butt ASAP.
That's one of those ones where like, no, I can't let you walk away from this moment still believing the thing that you believe, because you're going to say it in the wrong place.
And it doesn't matter that we corrected him, because now for forever and the rest of time, all we're going to hear is scratch my balls every time I hear this song.
Scratch my balls.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I feel like one of our favorite things to talk about is like words or phrases and stuff like that.
Where they come from, why do we use them, why is the English language so weird?
Yeah, it's such a bizarre language, the English language. But over the weekend, my girlfriend came home and she's like, oh my gosh, did you see that murder of crows at the park around the corner? And I was like, no, I didn't, but I really do love the term murder of crows.
Yeah, it's so dark. Like, there's a gaggle of geese and swarms of all this other stuff. And since someone was like choosing the idiom, they were like, well, what if we just called a bunch of crows a murder?
I mean, they're eating dead stuff, I guess. Like, it's very fitting. But I just love the word murder being used for a group of crows, essentially.
And it really only works with crows. Like, I couldn't imagine, like I mentioned geese. Like, it would be really weird if you were like, even with how aggressive they can be, yo, did you see that murder of geese in the park today? Like, someone would assume you were actually talking about someone stabbing geese in the park.
As someone who's scared of geese, I would like us to start referring to them as murders of geese, actually. I like that. But you're right. I guess, like, you can't really use that term because it's just saying it's a group of blank.
Yeah.
But you can't use that for other things. You couldn't, like, your teacher would never be in class and be like, all right, guys, you guys split into murders of 4. Something you're never going to hear.
No, probably not going to get that.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was just late. I just came from my yoga murder.
Did you guys hear? We added a new guy to the murder today.
Hey, babe, watch out when you're driving. There's a murder of kids playing street hockey down the road. You most definitely shouldn't use it with kids.
Yeah, in no fashion should you use the words murder and kids in the same sentence.
Unless you have like a bunch of kids over at your house and like I call you and you're like, hey man, sorry, I can't hang out. It's Marcus's birthday party. We've got a murder of kids in the basement.
I feel like that would be pretty apt. Yeah. But also, did you have to say in the basement? Because now I think you just dragged it back down to an uncomfortable place.
If you say that on the phone, I'm immediately calling 911.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
A very first for the bad line here.
Yeah.
We have our first complaint.
Well, Brock or Brick and Dolby or Dolby. Boy, is this an appropriate name. The bad line. Discussions about Crocs. Who needs Valentine's Day? Hair, shaving hair, idiotic news, the constant verbal diarrhea. How about playing more music? My name's John. I tell you, it's the most foul crap I have to listen to in the morning.
Sorry.
I don't have very many channels on my radio in my truck, and this is brutal. Who pays you guys? Why do they need two of you to ruin a morning?
Rogers pays us.
Yeah, just
The
in case you're wondering.
prepubescent nasal drawl of Brick, this is the weather today. You're always wrong. And Dolby's contribution. Dolby. Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Play music. Quit the verbal diarrhea. Just play music. Do you know AC/DC has hundreds of songs? You got to play the same 20 over and over again?
Okay,
My
hang
God.
on.
Goodbye.
Hang on 1 second, all right? I take offense to that. There's no way we play 20 different
Yeah, we play the
AC/DC
same
songs.
8 AC/DC songs, okay?
I feel like I owe you an apology. I should have never given my dad the bad line number.
My favorite part is when he's like, I don't have that many channels on my presets.
Yeah, you know, everybody's radio works the same, right? Like
You can
there's-
change it anytime.
You can tune it to whatever you want. He's like, it's the most foul crap I have to listen to.
But you know what?
Is there someone in your house with a gun? Like, you don't have to.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because, hey, we're not for everyone.
No.
And we know that. If you don't like us, that's totally okay. You're not going to
Sure.
like everything in life.
Absolutely.
But I will say this. We're gonna try and stop talking a little bit more here.
He does sometimes. We go on a
Sure,
little bit.
I can get that.
And sure, we get texts every day from people who say that they enjoy it, but this one guy is upset.
So for John right now,
Yeah.
let's do ourselves a favor. Let's shut up. No, I do want to say something.
Okay.
He said I have a very nasally voice, and that was kind of offensive.
We've heard that from a couple people before.
I have a deviated septum, and I take okay.
Wait, so do I. I have a normal voice.
Okay. All right. Well.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. You know what, John? We're sorry.
Yeah,
Let's shut up.
We're trying to practice.
Let's play more music.
Not talking as much.
Well,
Can we just talk? Just quickly.
Okay, yeah, sorry,
Not
sorry.
to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I'm aware that I laugh a lot on the show, but I don't think that was an accurate representation of my laugh.
let me see.
It's funny though.
Yeah, that's kind of rude.
The irony of him hating my laugh, but then his impression makes me laugh on the show.
Yeah, I do feel like it was okay. John, we're
Okay.
sorry. John, we're getting carried away.
Yeah.
John, we're getting carried away. But like, it just is not like I'm kind of feel frustrated right now.
A
Because
little bit. Also, like, he's like, what are you guys talking about shaving hair for? Like, listen, John.
We're trying to raise money for charity, John.
You call back and you donate $4,000 by yourself to the food bank. We'll never talk about haircuts ever again.
There we go.
$4,000 is what it'll cost you, man. But again, sorry.
I swear to God, we're gonna shut up now. Okay?
Like right now.
Yeah.
Starting now.
I'm done. Are you done?
Yeah, no, I'm done.
I'm
I
done.
think.
Okay.
Let me hang. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. We'll
Less-
talk just in a few minutes when we have to do the wedding.
Less talking.
Okay.
More AC/DC.
Okay. All right.
Starting
3, 2, 1.
Wait, 3, 2, 1, go, or
Okay.
like 3, 2, 1?
I don't know.
3, 2, 1, go.
John, what do you want us to do?
John, help us out, man.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I don't know if you've ever come across those Newfoundland tourism ads that they have on television.
I mean, I feel like I've seen it, just a generic, like, look how beautiful Newfoundland is. You should come here and bring your money.
Yeah, it'll show St. John's, Conception Bay, all that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know if you've ever realized at the end of the commercial, there'll be a little text in like the lower corner and it'll say, call Margaret with like a 1-800 number.
Just specifically Margaret.
And it's been like that for years.
It's not like call the Newfoundland Tourism Board or the Tourist Center or anything like Margaret. I love that.
It's just Margaret. And I've always wondered to myself, is there literally one lady in Newfoundland that is running the whole tourism board for the province?
It's not even like an office or like a building or anything. She's just got a phone, and it's an old rotary phone in the kitchen that while she's cooking, it rings up and she answers, hello.
And I know maybe this could be a real hit or miss thing, but I was thinking, do you want to try and call Margaret this morning?
Are we calling Margaret? They're ahead of us, right? What is it, hour and a half ahead from here?
I don't know, something like that.
It's like 9 o'clock or something out there. Give her a call.
All right, this could go nowhere, but let's see what happens. I'll give it a call. Let me get the number here.
Hello, Margaret.
Hi, we're looking for Margaret.
We're out here right now, boys. You know, store, get a bit of blown over breakfast.
Who's this?
Sorry, what was that?
I'm to the store, boy. Get a bit of blown over breakfast.
Okay.
She's at the store.
Do we have the right number? We're looking for the Newfoundland tourism ad. Like at the end of the commercials, it's got this.
Yeah, this is the place, boy. This is the place. This is where Margaret goes, boy.
Oh. Okay.
So, like, how does this work? Do you guys just, like, people call in and you just give them, like, tips and ideas on how to experience it?
That's it, boy. People call, you know, people from where's you from?
We're from Ontario.
Oh, say, yes, boy. Yeah, people up there in the mainland, boy, they comes home, you know, they wants to come to Newfoundland for a visit. Yes, boy, Marge makes the arrangements. Comes home, they go out, do what you want to do, boy. See the whales, see the icebergs.
And who are you? Or do you work for?
I'm my husband, Bert.
Bert?
Bert?
Yeah, Bert.
Pleasure to meet you, Bert. Good to get a hold of you this morning. So, Bert, what would be your idea? Like, a couple kids from Ontario want to come visit the Rock. Where would you take us first?
Boy, take you out, see the whales, see the icebergs. Take you capelin fishing, take you up in the woods, see the mooses. Take you down around St. John's, get a bit of liquor in you, you know?
I'm surprised the liquor is that far down the list, if I'm being honest, Bert.
That's all right, because I already had it. Smartin. I wake up.
Bert, come on now.
Late night last night. Boys come home from Alberta last night. Late night.
Margaret put a few back, too?
Margaret, jeez. Margaret drinks. Margaret spilled more over her chin than I drinks.
Now, is Margaret the only one that works for Newfoundland Tourism, or what's going on here?
Hey, listen, we knows what to do. She knows what to do. Make fellas have the bestest time, boy. He comes home, Margaret knows what to do. I don't know what she totally does with him, but she makes a good time, boy. Where'd you get her number at anyway?
We see it on those tourism ads all the time. It's right at the end of the commercials. It says, call Margaret with the 1-800 number here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Last time I see Margaret's number was on the back wall of the outhouse. That's when I met her.
All right, well, we're sorry for bugging you, Bert. Let Margaret know we called.
You come on down there. Come down. Let us know when you're coming down. We have a good time, boy. I'll take you out on the town. Appreciate
it, Bert. Appreciate it. Well, now we know.
Did he imply that Margaret is sleeping?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We decided to make a list of things that you should never do at a funeral because there's this video that a friend of the show, Margaret, sent to us. I believe it's in like Africa or something. Of this
South Africa,
of this guy proposing to his girlfriend at her father's funeral. Like, dude, she's like 3 feet away from the casket.
She's in her seat. This must be just based on like everyone is sitting facing forward. This is not like the reception or the wake. He interrupted the ceremony for this.
And, yeah, it's a big no-no. We were like, what are some other things, like, you shouldn't do at a funeral? Of course, like, don't hit on the widow. Don't talk about how much you love the food. Don't say, like, the egg salad sandwiches are to die for. Don't drop a deuce in the bathroom is another one someone said, and say, hey, someone died in there. Like, don't make any terrible puns. Don't high-five. Like,
a lot of hookups. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, don't try hook up with anybody. Don't try hit on the widow. Chantel texted it and said, don't hook up with your cousin.
I mean, you just shouldn't do that one.
That's not funeral-specific advice.
Way.
What are you, in Saskatchewan? Get out of here.
We've got a new friend of the show, Manuel, on the phone. Manuel, you said you have a really good story about something that you actually did at a funeral that you wouldn't recommend to anyone. If you could please share with us, Manuel. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm from Chile. I just moved. Well, I moved to Sudbury a year ago.
Okay.
So, and we are just crazy about soccer. Like you're here with hockey. We are just all about soccer.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I just went to this church in Chile, right? And the pastor of that church was already dead like a couple of days ago. So we went there because this church is like our friend. So we went there to give them support and etc. Like the family to the brotherhood, etc.
Okay.
Then some guy, we were like 18, 20, and some guy approached to us and asked, we heard that you play soccer against X-Church. And we said, oh, yeah. And he said, okay, so will you play against us? And I said, yeah, of course. So I called a couple of my friends, and this guy called a couple of his friends, and we started, so, okay, it's Saturday, good for you? Yeah, so 11:30? Yeah, let's make it 11:30. And then we realized that people start at us, like, what are these guys doing? So we say,
everybody's
okay, maybe,
like mourning and crying, and you guys are just
and we were like, and we said, okay, maybe we should move out of the church. So we walk out of the church to the parking lot, and then we finished the game organization.
That's an immediate red card, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
The pallbearers are carrying the body out of the church, and all you hear, ole, 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 ole.
Yeah, and the thing is, we started like a tour of playing soccer with different churches just because of that day. So thanks to the deceased pastor, we had a tour of soccer.
It's a shame that he died, but I mean, it's very hard to get a group of guys together nowadays. So, I mean, it paid off in the end.
Yeah, it's so sad, but I'm sorry. It's true.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
So there's some dude in Japan who spent like the equivalent of about like $16,000 Canadian to be turned into a dog. Like, not actually transformed into a dog. He just like got this like almost real life looking dog suit.
Yeah, it's not like there was no surgery involved, but when this guy puts this thing on,
it looks legit.
If you're not like really paying attention for flaws, it looks like a collie, like Lassie.
And we were talking that, you know, maybe it's like 20, 30 years down the line, but you know, science eventually there's going to be people that are going to like want to transform into animals and strange stuff like that. So we asked the question, if you could transform into any animal, what would it be? We've got Scott on the phone. What would it be for you, dude?
I think a big old feral tomcat fighting and banging just random house cats.
Did you say fighting and banging random house cats?
It could be a violent but also satisfying life.
That's true, man. You just go around, people feed you, give you belly rubs and stuff.
Yeah, no. And then you just, if they don't rub it right, you just scratch them and run away.
Had enough of this.
I've never been a fan of cats, but I do think like being a cat would be pretty dope, especially just being able to like at someone.
Well, yeah, you don't like cats because they live better than you do.
True.
Being a cat would be way better than having a cat.
We got some good ones here on the text line 762-555 of like what animal you would want to transform into. I got one from Luke. He says, I'd like to be a wolf because then I'd always have friends.
Because they're in a pack.
They're in a pack. Yeah,
that's the saddest, funniest text today.
I know, it's kind of sad, but it's actually a good point, dude. I respect that. Joey says, I would want a bee. I could fly anywhere I want. But, dude, bees are almost going extinct.
It's true.
You want to be like the one bee?
See, this is the other thing, because like some animals don't have long life expectancy. Like bees don't last all that long.
Mm-hmm.
Bee life would be pretty cool, but like if I'm a human turned into a bee, do I still get my like 70, 80 years as a bee?
Yeah.
Or am I basically saying like, all right, I got 6 months, let's go?
Or even like, what if you're a bee and you get stuck in like a beekeeper's thing? And then, you're a slave.
Well, but no matter what, you're a slave unless you're the queen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got one in here. It says, I'd like to be a dolphin. They get to swim all day and they have sex for pleasure. True. True. I guess. We got another one in here that says, I'd like to be a T-Rex, which like, I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, but you got those tiny little arms.
I was going to say, I got a big wingspan right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I could give that up just so I could stomp around and chew on things.
And roar at people and stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool, but then like, what can you do? You like, your hands are just like...
I can already stomp around and roar, and I can reach things on the floor.
I do love this text from Rob at 762-555. He says, I'd like to be a snake owned by a stripper because I've always wanted to be in show business. Fair enough, my dude. If you can't get in as an actor, I mean, you might as well try somewhere else.
Why not, right?
Yeah. We've got friend of the show, Chris, on the phone. I appreciate you for staying on hold. Your kid had an answer to our question of what animal he would like to transform into. Could you tell everyone what was said in the car this morning?
An octopus, so I could whip everybody with my testicles. That's courtesy of an 8-year-old boy.
I believe it's tentacles, sir.
You're correct. Much funnier the other way, though. Kids are awesome.
I'm glad at least if anything came from this conversation this morning, we could maybe teach your son the difference between tentacles and testicles.
Yeah, let's hope not. I don't need him talking about testicles all the time.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store, with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.